The water. When a loud scream broke the quiet. Not just any scream, a high squeaky cry that turned into total chaos. Ethan's girlfriend had tripped over my new wooden fence, crashing face first into a duck nest her mom yelled like someone had stolen. The wedding rings, men in fancy suits shouted a plate of shrimp had fallen into the lake in all the mess. A confused DJ yelled into his microphone asking where to plug in his speakers, which were now sitting on the fence line, half on my land, half on theirs. I sat back in my lawn chair drinking iced tea on my own land and said to myself, I told them that fence was built because it was right. But to understand how a simple fence became the big talk of the neighborhood, we need to go back 3 weeks to the thing that started a fight. People still talk about. It all started at the HOA block party. Lisa. The HOA president smiled a smile that seemed nice and mean at the same time, like a toothpaste ad with an attitude I'd lived by the lake. For 8 years, safe from the HOA's rules because my house was there before their rules started. My lot sat on the edge of the neighborhood with a big 60 feet of lakefront compared to the normal 20. That water area was my happy place. Campfires, fishing. With my niece. It wasn't just land. It was my safe space. Then Lisa came along, and with her came Ethan. Ethan walked in like he was in a TV show called Middle-Age Meltdown, fancy car tank top, sunglasses inside. Lisa said he was her brother from out of town who just bought the empty lot next door. He shook my hand, but his eyes were already looking at my lakefront like a hunter looking at dinner. The next morning, I found a beach chair, a cooler, and a loudspeaker sitting on my grass thinking it was a mistake. I moved them to the sidewalk with a nice note. The day after, Ethan knocked on my door holding a burger and smiling. Lisa says, this water area is for everyone. Now we're cooking burgers, want one. I didn't want a burger, I wanted answers. When I asked Lisa, she said sweetly that the HOA had looked at property lines again to make lakefront access fair, giving part of my land to her brother. She gave me a bad copy of a land map and a meeting summary signed by 3 HOA board members. Herself, Ethan, and a woman who'd moved out months ago. Her signature looked suspiciously new. I could smell the trick. I looked up my property papers, the original map, and called the county office. Every paper said my lakefront was mine. No exceptions. Ethan had no right to step foot on it, but Lisa kept going, claiming new HOA rules beat old records. She spray-painted a new shared line across my yard and put up a rope between stakes to claim a piece of my land. I thought it was a joke until I came home to Ethan having a party on my grass, complete with tiki torches and using my drink glasses on my fishing bench. I tried talking, showing him the legal lines. His answer, Lisa handles that stuff. I'm just here for the lake, dude. Things got worse when I caught them building a fire pit by my dock. That's when I called Ryan, a land surveyor friend, with a love for drones and a hate for nonsense. He came with a crew and fancy gear, mapping every inch of my lot. The survey was perfect, and Ryan found a bonus. Ethan's badly built deck went 2 feet onto my property. With this, I put up signs, fence going up in 48 hours. Lisa stormed over in yoga pants and flip-flops, yelling about building without permission. I showed her my permits. She threatened HOA fines. I showed her county approvals. She called me selfish. I gave her the sheriff's card, already got the plan approved. She left angry. 2 days later, my fence crew came at sunrise, starting at the exact spot listed on Ethan's wedding. Invite as the lakeside party. A white tent sat there, string lights hung from my tree, and the food truck was parked on my grass. As the wooden panels went up, cutting the tent, in half the DJ's booth sat on the line, and the wedding stage sat completely. On my land, Lisa screamed like crazy, trying to stop the workers. They ignored her. She called the HOA hotline, no answer. She called the sheriff, who shook my hand and told her I was doing what I could. If it's not your land, it's not your wedding, said. That night I drank a cold beer on my deck as Ethan tried to save his wedding on his tiny muddy yard. Lisa paced, waving papers like they were magic tricks. They had no idea this was just the start. The next morning I found chairs stacked by my driveway and a note taped to my mailbox in Lisa's neat writing, "This isn't over. HOA review coming, stop building." I threw it in the recycling and walked to the fence with my coffee. The wooden panel stood tall, a quiet way of saying the truth. Ethan's confidence had turned into panic. His wedding space was ruined. I wasn't just building a wall, I was making a legal claim, and I needed it rock solid. Ryan came back writing a report with drone pictures and boundary maps. He found Lisa's land change, was never filed, and the HOA hadn't turned in a building plan in 3 years, ruining her trick. I went to the county office proving my map with old papers showing unbroken lakefront ownership. Lisa's fake maps were about to meet a paper shredder. Back home, Ethan was on his phone talking about permit problems in other places. Party trucks drove around not sure where to unload. The DJ sat on his speaker, head in hands. Lisa's lie had gambled away Ethan's wedding, leaving them with a ditch next to a tiny piece of land. That night, an email from the HOA came, subject line yelling urgent violation. Lisa said I did illegal building and blocked a wedding using a dead rule and blurry fence photos. I laughed, remembered a rule I'd helped get rid of 5 years ago. My reply was a document attack certified deed, Ryan's Survey County emails proving her change was fake, and rules proving she'd skipped required approvals. I copied every homeowner, calling it clearing the air. By noon, Lisa's yard was strangely quiet. Her beach flags were gone, her porch light off, the HOA's social media, usually full of her show-off posts, went quiet. My email buzzed with neighbors, thanks and screenshots of Lisa's past fake votes. A retired lawyer neighbor offered to write a request for a board review saying you lit the fuse. I leaned in, putting up plastic-covered signs, private property trespassers reported, and fence built to stop wedding invasions. Not kidding. The mail carrier laughed. A lifeguard gave a thumbs up. Lisa called an emergency HOA meeting, forgetting to invite me. It failed. Only 2 board members showed, one leaving early. A neighbor told me Lisa planned to sue for emotional hurt to Ethan's wedding. I almost choked laughing, but I stayed, careful writing down every talk and putting up a trail camera. 2 nights later at 11:30 p.m., it caught Lisa and Ethan in black hoodies messing with a drill and hammer. They tried unscrewing the fence but failed against my special screws. Ethan hit the post in anger, turning on my motion light. Lisa yelped. Ethan tripped into a flower bed. I called the sheriff, who looked at the video and warned them about property damage. Lisa's show-off act cracked. She was in over her head. The HOA hearing was a circus. Lisa had decorated the clubhouse with lake photos, giving out packets called Community Harmony Under Attack. She told a story of me as a bad neighbor who ruined a special wedding. I waited, then gave out my folder: deeds, surveys, permits, sheriff, reports, rules, and Lisa's email saying Ethan owned the water area before the fence. The room went silent. A board member, Helen, a retired teacher, asked Lisa, "Why didn't you show us these?" Lisa stuttered, saying I was being mean. Another member, Greg, a code officer, asked her about Ethan's deck going over the line and lights without permission. When she avoided answering, Helen moved to delay the hearing for a board review. It passed with everyone agreeing. Neighbors shook my hand, whispering, "Finally." My internet post about the story exploded, trending with drone photos and jokes calling the fence the iron line of Lisa, a radio station, and a blog with the headline, "Lakefront War Starts, HOA Rebellion," made the story bigger. Lisa's dictator image fell apart. Then the state HOA board emailed looking into her for abuse of power and shady money. I sent evidence of Ethan's community garden deck, just a smoker and chairs paid for by HOA money. Within a week, Lisa was suspended and a special election was ordered. She disappeared. Ethan whined online about local hate, but his post failed. Ryan, my surveyor, won the presidency by a lot, promising honesty and property rights. He gave back Lisa's fake fines and required permits for events. The crowd cheered. Lisa sold her house 2 months later, rumored to be looking at a retirement community board. Ethan snuck back east, his wedding business, failing after a park booking without permits. One night, I saw a woman in sunglasses. Lisa staring at the fence. From a car. She muttered, drove off and never came back. The fence, now on the HOA's official recorded map, stood as a legend. Neighbors called it the Lisa line. Tourists took photos. One hung a sign, "Fence of Justice." A kid asked why I didn't tear it down. Sometimes I said you win by building something unbreakable. A letter came, not signed, but clearly Lisa's. You were selfish but right. I tucked it away. The lake sparkled. Neighbors laughed louder and respect ruled. All it took was a fence, some truth, and a fight worth.